Hi and welcome to a new video. In this one I wanted to show you the process of my this year's Halloween costume for myself. And this year I was inspired by one of my favorite movies, Crimson Peak. In particular, the ghosts. So I wanted to make my entire costume translucent in this black organza tulle combination. And it's supposed to look like a skeleton, so I drew my first design, which is a two-piece dress, the corset and the small hood. I actually was first searching in this Patterns of Fashion book from Janet Arnold. I was looking for under construction that would fit my dress, and I found this small hoops, I think from the 1750s, 1780s, but they were more of an oval shape, and I wanted to make it symmetrical and more round. So I was actually not using the pattern that was in the book. I was using just a simple circle skirt pattern for that. But later on I figured that my circle shape doesn't really work because of the skirts or the ruffles that I attached to the hoop. So it was pulling the whole thing down and created this weird oval shape, which is actually good. It looks way better than my original design. The first layer of my corset, I chose a thick jeans-like fabric, and I already knew I would use plastic whalebones for this project, and I drew the exact positions of the boning channels, and also cut my second layer, which was a beautiful white satin, and then sew all the boning channels, which took me a little bit, and then attached all the pieces together to try it on. And I never make a mock-up for my corsets because to try on a corset you actually have to use the original fabric, the layers, and also the boning too. So you have to at least put half of your plastic whalebones into the corset to try it on and to see how it will look like. Because if you don't do that, then you end up with a smaller corset than your original pattern, because all the boning channels, all the layers, of course, make the corset just smaller. So that's what I did here. And then I found this skirt that I have never worn, and I decided to use that as a third or fourth layer even for my corset and also for my hoops, and it worked out perfectly. I had a lot of fabric, I had even a little bit left, and for my fourth layer I used this natural colored fabric that should be fitting for my skin type, and of course I had to secure all the layers because the black organza was actually quite elastic, and I repeated the same process to put my corset together, close the side seams, and it was pretty thick. I mean, I think I made too many layers, which which made the corset pretty heavy and thick in the end, and I wished I didn't use as many. And also it took me a while to figure out where to put each whalebone inside the channels that I measured out before. And before everything else, I had to sew my decorative black stripes on the corset, and also to cut my sheer natural colored fabric, which was an organza, quite elastic, and I sewed to the back of my corset. And after that, I struggled a little bit with the zipper because I couldn't find a zipper that opens at the bottom, and also they didn't have the right color in the shop, so I couldn't find a more natural one, so that's what I was ending using. And for the spine, I used the black organza and cut the fabric in a long stripe, and just made these little sections, sewed them, secured them, and I think it turned out really beautiful. And for the hoop, I used a black, quite thick ribbon for the boning channel and for the waistband. So I later on took my black tool that I had to make the skirt for the hoop, and actually I made it a little bit too long because I'm quite short, but I fixed that later. And also the ruffles were not as many as I wanted it to be, but I couldn't do much about it later. I used here a sandwich technique for attaching the skirt to the hoop, and I think I made it too complicated, as it should have been, but yeah. And I also left a little opening at each side for the boning, and all I had to do is to sew my waistband to the hoop and put my plastic whalebone inside, which was, by the way, only one layer. I thought it was just enough. Originally I wanted to make two. And also I put the ruffles on top of the hoop and more ruffles on the bottom, also in this beautiful red tulle that I found in the store. The red fabric was actually quite fitting because it's supposed to look like blood, and it is really fitting for the movie Crimson Peak, so I really liked it. All in all, I really liked the end result, and I think it turned out really nicely. So I had to struggle with the corset quite a bit, but in the end the work was worth it. So yeah, if you liked this video and liked my dress, give me a thumbs up so I know that you would like to see more of this kind of videos in the future. And at this point I will say bye and see you guys later. Bye!